somebody's loss of property.
So you looking for me?
I certainly am.
Brian Powers.
Brian Powers, good to see you.
Yes,
Good to
ma'am.
see you. I appreciate you stopping by.
Sure.
Iggy will get you hooked up right here.
Oh.
So,
All right. It's official. Can I just hold it, or you got? Oh, okay.
we have one of the what I consider one of the most powerful names here in Indiantown. It's long established, a wonderful name. It's the Powers. But Brian Powers, I appreciate you joining me here on the show this evening. Again, we're here tonight to talk about Martin County Fire Rescue Services that Indiantown has always had, but they're considering breaking off and bringing in their own volunteer or hybrid services. So Brian, you've been here, your family's been here a really long time. What are your thoughts on this?
You know, I don't know where to start really, but I think there's a couple things. One, we're in our second or so year, and we got a lot of things going on. I don't know that this is a huge priority. I think another issue is that it's not very well thought through. I think when you look at the details, and the devil's always in the details. You know, my dad was a longtime commissioner, and his thing was always about getting your ducks in a row. And I just don't think all our ducks in a row to even begin to consider something like that. And you know, and I guess another thing on that is I just don't understand the urgency. If you want to consider it or whatever, fine, but do your homework and then have a plan. And I haven't heard, you know, any of the details for what a plan is. I've seen a budget that doesn't seem to have everything, and so you know, it just seems premature, I guess is the right word, to for them to consider it. And
it seems a little suspicious because the prices have been changing. It started out around 4.8 million. Now they've found a cost savings of excess of millions. It's like, why are like the numbers changing? You know, do you really know what they are? Are they vetting it fully?
Yeah, and I think the issue there is the cost of being wrong is tremendous.
Right.
You know, and you know, if you're wrong on your budget for the parks, or you're wrong on some other things, you know, that's another thing.
Your life is not depending on those.
Yeah, and then if they give you a reason to do it, like if there was a failure of service, you know. And you know, honestly, we've had these discussions in the past, and I remember when the lumber yard burned down, and because we didn't have enough water to fight the fire, literally we had to build a whole new lumber yard. And you know, there's been issues like that, but we've learned from them and we've gotten better because of them. And so I think to the extent that we're getting better at it, and I don't see the compelling need to do it. I don't, you know, given the services that we have now.
Well, Brian, one of the former guests that was here a few minutes ago had mentioned that the water plant, she would rather that they focus on the water plant and make sure that the water system here in Indiantown is up to speed, because the pumps just went down this last weekend. It's a huge concern.
I think that's a good point too. I mean, it's it's an enormous task that they've all taken on, and you know, my hat's off to them on that. But yeah, you got everything can't be a priority. And at all levels of government, I think we're finding that it's like everything can't be a priority. You can't spend money on everything, and but that's another aspect to it as well.
It certainly is. Have you ever had any issues negatively with the Martin County Rescue Services here in Indiantown?
No, you know, back in my propane days, we used to train together, and we used to, you know, do those kind of things. I mean, we've had a long association. Our parents were the first volunteers to run the ambulance here in the 70s, and so, you know, we've certainly been around it throughout the years, but I think we're in a good place.
We've already talked a lot here with the listeners about the cross-training that all the Martin County Fire Rescue personnel has as far as being EMTs, fire departments. They send ambulances on every call. Let me ask you this, and I've asked the other guests this as well. If Indiantown saves $1 million, $2 million, is that worth it?
Well, it's, you know, the question is, one, show me how you're going to save $1 million, and two, tell me what I'm going to give up. You know, when you say, is it worth it, you have to understand what that package is. And I just don't think we have an understanding yet of what's in it. And,
right.
And So I think we'll have to see. But it's for me in this case, it's the rush. Like, I don't understand why not just put the brakes on, take a year. If you want to keep thinking about it, think about it. But like, there's like this whole, we're rushing to a cliff to make this decision that, and I just don't think we have all our facts straight. And so time will tell.
Brian, if there's something that you could say to the council if they were standing here, what would you ask them or say to them?
You know, I guess I would counsel them to kind of go back and understand, you know, when we started this process from an incorporation, we articulated a well laid out vision, I thought, and it was well laid out because we beat the hell out of each other thinking through these, you know, the pros and cons. We didn't just rush into it. There was an event that triggered it, but, you know,
right.
Once that happened, we wanted to make sure that we could cover both sides of the base, and I just think that they owe it to themselves to do the same. They need to do their own homework, not rely on others. Just because you hire somebody, that you don't necessarily do what they say. You ask your own questions, and I just think there needs to be more of that. I think, you know, I don't know, they just need to do more homework, I think, in that regard.
Brian, thank you so much for stopping by. Your words mean a lot, and I know you strongly supported the incorporation. You were one of the people that was helping to put that together.
Yeah.
So,
well, not just me. There were plenty.
There were plenty, and over in Stewart, I was supporting you folks as well. And you know,
we're grateful for that.
Absolutely, and I wish you all the best, and hope that they do put the brakes on and consider everybody's opinions. Again, council, they work for the people.
Sure.
And there's no reason to rush because you have a great service right now in Martin County Fire Rescue. So
Agreed.
I hope that happens and they slow down and take into account what everybody's saying here this evening.
See how we do.
That's
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you, Brian.
Good
Appreciate
deal.
you stopping by.
Great. Thank you.
So again,